Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome on in. The two should be live, so y'all should have good audio. No problems there. Set up the camera. There we go. Let's see. Two over. Yeah, it's already balanced. It's good. Excellent. Okay. Ping my Discord and we'll get started. There we go. All right. Good morning, Hodel. Mariah's. All right. Yeah, welcome on in. So, yeah, thank you very much for redeeming the first. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome on in. So, got a good show for y'all today, ladies and gentlemen. It's a poll day. It's going to be rows. Oh. So we're going to be doing bent over rows. So for that, actually, deciding whether or not that's actually the right view. It's better to have y'all over on the side for these, I think. That way I can get a better view of the actual mechanics of the lift. That matters a lot more to me. So. Oh yeah, that's much better. Oh, a little warm up. So for me, I'm a huge fan of when I do my bent over rows. A lot of people will only kind of go like this, and you can do that, but it's going to put a little bit more strain on your traps, upper body. For me, when I bend over on my rows, I want to bend all the way over, really get them deep. So as a result of that, I don't think I hit as much weight as perhaps a lot of people my size would on this exercise, but I definitely feel them. I can feel the squeeze in my lats, which is really what you're looking for here. Okay, so move on to the stream manager on my phone, so that way I can check, make sure I'm not missing redeems, and pull up the right date, because today is October 5th. There we go. So we've got rows starting at 2:25 this morning. We'll do beat the hell out of Missouri. I mean, no offense, Hodel, but I don't think we will. Our weaknesses pair up with Missouri's strengths. Luther Burden III is one of the best receivers in college football right now, and A&M secondary has a penchant for giving up chunk plays. Uh, we we're gonna have to respect his prowess. I'd love to see A&M win. Now, if A&M can keep it close, Kyle Field should help, but uh, I would say the prognosis is not particularly good for Aggie football today. I do not expect a win against Missouri. I would say a 10-point loss. Frankly, Missouri is objectively a better team than Notre Dame, and I A&M's I think A&M's offense does not have enough firepower to match. Again, I would like to think otherwise, but I also don't care that much, so I could be wrong. I mean, I've been let down by A&M too many times to have hope. All right, feels pretty good. Start with, yeah, we'll start with 225. So that'll be 35s on each side and 10. Get started. Because I'm lazy, I don't want to dig the 10s out behind the 25s. Just use these. All right. So we got rows. Now for bent over rows, a weight belt is entirely optional. You do not have to use one. Particularly if you're not bending over as far as I am, there's probably not a reason to. However, because I am bending over so far, this exercise is not meant to be working your lower back. It's meant to be working your lats. The weight belt allows my abs to press into the belt, use that force to press into the back, which keeps my spine straighter and allows me to focus a lot more on squeezing my lats to get the weight up, which is what we want. So I'd say if you're getting to the point where you're repping at least your body weight on uh, bent over rows, you may find that a weight belt is useful for you. God, I've been having some diet problems the last week or so. I've been really trying to eat better and failing a lot. Um, I'm never going to hide my shortcomings from y'all. So I'm weighing in a bit heavier than I ought to be right now. Morning, Big Red. Welcome on in. Total welcome on in. ENB, good to see you. Always love having you in here. Uh, what's up? Well, for the candidate 801 this morning. Yes, sir. Now, I'm hoping A&M beats Missouri, obviously. Just because I've stopped caring as much uh, doesn't necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily mean that I don't want them to win, but it means I've decided to start focusing my life's energy on other things. Okay, speaking of other things, it's time for me to put this weight up. Oh yeah, we'll talk about last night's stream. It was indeed a fire stream, but all right, go for a little hair metal, a little final countdown by Europe. Okay, let's go. Strong like bull. I want at least 7 here. Should be able to get 8. That was 9. I'll take that. Probably not the greatest last rep there, but better than previously. That's not bad. I'll try 245. I've never done more than 225, so might be good time for like a 6 repper. It's the final countdown. Final. All right. You load the final countdown? Why? All right, well, I'll switch it then, out of respect. Uh, you know what? I'll go from Sweden south to Germany. Let's do I Can't Explain by the Scorpions. A cover of a Who song. So it was literally a fire stream. So yeah, with regards to my stream, old Sam Dogan of Financial Samurai is finally starting to learn. Huh, you know, if I were to cut my spending, I wouldn't need such an obscene amount of money to stay financially independent. Who would have thought? It's almost like no matter how much income you make, you can find ways to piss it away. And it's almost like you need financial discipline if you want to be financially independent. Look at any number of spoiled rich kids who don't understand the value of the money their parents worked for and pissed it away and went bankrupt. This is not rocket science. The fat fire is dumb. It is. I'm sorry. It's dumb. It's better. I suppose it's better than the, paycheck to paycheck $400,000 lifestyle, but not by much. It's because no matter what you do, you're at fat fire levels of spending, you are living unsustainably. If not for your own finances, then certainly environmentally speaking. Hell, I could argue even at my current life out here, my current way of living, my life is environmentally unsustainable. The very ugly truth is that at our current population of 8 point something billion, if we all wanted to live a environmentally sustainable lifestyle, we would need to adopt the carbon footprint of the average Bangladeshi. Now, nothing against Bangladesh. It's a country full of, I'm sure, wonderful people, but good luck getting the wealthy or even middle class parts of the world to lower their carbon footprints and standing to that. This is why everybody's freaking out about the population bust, where they should be celebrating it. We have a global population of 1 to 2 billion. All of a sudden, sustainability becomes a much easier task. And no, humanity won't go extinct at those levels. We don't need 8 billion people on the planet. And I'm not saying we need to have, gulags or anything insane like that, but the fact that reproduction rates are below replacement level is not an emergency. Maybe in 100 years it will be, but by that point, I think we'll reach equilibrium. The key here is to watch Japan. Japan's going to go through it before any other country because they hit their population boom and their fertility rate dropped the fastest. I have a suspicion that in around 50 or 60 years, Japan will see its population or its fertility rate slowly tick back up to some level of equilibrium. And when this happens, Japan will have a stable population, but it'll be a much smaller population than the current one. But newsflash, it's not like Japan was completely depopulated in, say, 1960. Seems like an idea for a 30 to 30 doc. Yeah. All right, let's go. I'm taking a little bit more time on this one, but all right with that. So I've never done rows at more than 225. This should be interesting. Let's go. Can I get a viewer count check, by the way? I'd be very curious to see if this number is higher than normal. I did something. Oh, it's harder, yeah. Come on. Not squeeze it as much at the top. Come on. More. Yeah, that's not. I don't like the way that feels. I don't feel like I'm squeezing my lats as much as the top. We're going to go back down weight. That's 6 reps, but I don't feel like the form was nearly as good. I feel like I was coming up too high, and I definitely don't feel like I was getting the full range of motion. No, I mean, it's just why you do these things. You play with it. You know, a little play on the last rep or two of any set, fine. But if you're coming up every single set or every single rep on your set, you need to go down weight. So if you're not hitting parallel on squats, you're using too much weight. You have to be your own harshest critic. That's why I have you guys over here for these sets. I want to see this on my own. 34. I don't like the way I like either. Yeah, but you know, you try things. That's hilarious. 34. All right, so I told my Discord audience in a certain channel that I was wearing white shorts. You guys are so fucking shallow. I love it. Hey, you respect the honesty. Good to know. I'll keep this little experiment in mind for the future. D-Muscled Man, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome on into the bullpen. Good to have you. 34. So goddamn shallow. That's pathetic. That's really funny. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't, but no, I get it. It's all right. You know, y'all are here for a certain reason, and I just have to learn to live with that. All right. Let's get little Ego megalomania. Take advantage of Canada's trans populations having so many issues. They become very pro-immigration. A lot of people speak English, and maybe relative to the way they were 50 years ago, sure, but relative to any Western country, Japan is still quite xenophobic. I love Japan, don't get me wrong, but you say where people stop having kids, minorities and immigrants, they're going to having babies. Minorities aren't necessarily having more kids. I don't think the black fertility rate is much higher or lower, for that matter, than the white fertility rate. But that's been the way it's always been in the U.S. Typically, immigrants have a higher than average fertility rate for the first generation, possibly the second generation, and then it kind of asymptotically merges to the uh, U.S. average. There's a wise quote out there that says they're the only true Americans are immigrants. And while I don't necessarily agree with that sentiment, I understand what it's pulling at. The U.S. is probably better at handling immigration than any other country on earth. All right. Third set. So we're going to do this. I'm feeling like going a little heavier on my last set, so we're going to go just down to 205 and do our wide grips at 205 instead of the normal 185. All right. So By the way, y'all, for those of you who are not normally here, I am probably going to switch to YouTube in the coming weeks. Um, I've been thinking this one over for a while. Really, I'm just waiting for my view hours to top 3,000, at which point I could do YouTube Live and use Super Chats. So um, expect that to happen in the coming weeks. I can't give you an exact date, but at this current trajectory, I would think, if not next week, pretty shortly after that. I think we're at 2,300 hours right now. It needs to be 3,000, but it's going up by over 100 a day. So I'm going to try and pump out as much content as I can this week or this weekend because I have the time. Hopefully that'll help speed things up. Let's go. Come on, strong like ball. I want to see at least 8 here. I was able to get 9 in the first set. 6, come on. One more, come on. I'll take 9. Leave me alone. Yeah. Why does it everybody leave me alone? Yeah. God, I love Black Sabbath. Been listening to more Yes and Megadeth recently. Yes for cardio, Megadeth for lifting. I've gotten through every Megadeth album of the 20th century, and yeah, Megadeth fell off hard in the late 90s. Cryptic Writings was okay. Risk sucked. USA, some immigrants, like everything. South Americans are not even native here. I mean, there are some natives in the United States. It's just a small percentage. Yeah, we're a nation of immigrants. It works out to our favor. It's why the U.S. has a lot more dynamism than most other developed countries. It's also because we're more capitalist, for the most part. There are some things we do that are socialist, aka idiotic. All right. So that was 9. This would be 205 for wide grip. So in general, so most bars have a it's hard to see from this angle. I'm not going to show you all, but you've seen a bar before. You've got usually the centerpiece. There may or may not be knurling in the dead center, but then some smooth pieces and then knurling, and then a couple of rings where it's smooth for bench placement. For wide grip rows, I tend to place my index finger on the outermost ring. In other words, like you might do for a wide bench. That's not by accident. All right, come on. So we do this, and then we're gonna move to shrugs. Any updates on Dodger? Yeah, she's doing great. She got herself another new job. She keeps landing on her feet, and she's experimenting with a new religion. I don't approve of it, but that's not her problem. She's an adult. She's free to do what she likes. What I think doesn't really matter there. Ultimately, I don't care. It doesn't really affect me, but that's her life and her decisions. Let's go. Come on. From you now, is there a way? I'd like to get at least 10 here. That's going to be hard, though. Wide grip, in general, you're not going to get quite as much power. A little bit harder. All right. Strong like ball. Strong like ball. Come on. 10th rep. I'll count it, but I didn't like it. All right, let's move to shrugs. Feel it slipping away, slipping into tomorrow. I will never support universal health care until people start getting serious about junk food taxes. I am not interested in the slightest in subsidizing the poor decisions of fat people, much in the same way that I would not be supportive of subsidizing the decisions of drunkards and smokers. I have not heard a single American politician who wants universal health care actually talk about that. Show me one that wants junk food taxes and we'll talk. But until then, policies are all entirely just based on taxing productive people's incomes more to pay for the sick, the fat, the drunk, and the smoking. No. Let's go. This is 365. The grip strength becomes a challenge at a certain point. I don't want to use straps yet on that though. I think that was 13. Yeah. Actually, I shouldn't include smokers in that. While smoking is a nasty, disgusting habit, we actually tax it appropriately here. Well, Philip Morris already sees their products get taxed. Actually, I will. Yeah. But Bernie Sanders is a hack and a liar. You should never trust that man. That man claims to care about climate change, but was instrumental in shutting down the Vermont Yankee nuclear plant. He's a hack. He's an idiot. He's a freaking flower child. Oh, I, I I have nothing to say about that man, but that he's a hack. He's a fraud. He's an idiot hippie. He's just an old aging hippie. Technically, he's older. He's technically, I think, silent generation, but no, as far as I'm concerned, he's a flower child. Actually, you know what? Here, I'll play a song representing that man from the era, uh, from his era. It's from 1968. It's called "Liar" by Three Dog Night. There you go. You want to know what I think of Mr. Sanders? There you go. U.S. Getty nuclear engineer. Absolutely can't stand that guy. You cannot claim you are serious about climate change and be the person lobbying to shut down U.S. nuclear plants. It's just not a serious position. All right, let's go. Not bad. Ooh, feeling Good, the calluses are starting to shred off with this. Yes. Shred off one set of calluses, build another. The gym's been getting more crowded in here recently. I literally cannot stream any earlier. I get in here at 5. Lie, lie. Now I have no use for that old crank. Oh, no, Jane Fonda should. I wish the North Vietnamese had taken care of Jane Fonda in Minecraft. Wish they had not used her for propaganda. Roselmash fan. Privet. Don't usually get too many Russians in here, but welcome. Ikomo Mai from Hawaii. This shows a huge Bernie Sanders fan. I think there are plenty. It's Twitch. Twitch always has leftists in here. And I have no problem with leftists, but if you're anti-nuclear power for any other reason besides cost, I'm not going to take you very seriously. And shutting down existing perfectly fine nuclear plants is insanity, especially in the dawn of AI. AI requires an insane amount of power. Electric vehicles require an insane amount of power. To be getting rid of carbon-free nuclear energy in 2024 is nothing short of insanity. All right, we're going to do behind the butt shrugs. So the idea here is, right, we're working our traps. Whole point of a shrug exercise, you're working up here. Now your traps kind of have two sides. The front traps are, you see right up here, those bumps, but the back side of your traps are a lot harder to work. So you have to lean back a little bit and shrug them that way. It seems to work all right. All right, let's rock it'll work. Yeah. The anti-nuclear left is, I dislike the anti-nuclear left as much as I dislike the protectionist right. All good. All right, we're gonna do one more set of this. Move down to 135, hit 2 sets upright rows, and we'll move to meadows rows. I think SMR is going to be the key to data centers. If they get through the regulatory process, yes. The problem is the United States NRC is incredibly slow, incredibly bureaucratic, and incredibly fearful. You have political appointees running the US NRC that don't know the first thing about risk analysis or nuclear power. That's the problem. Hell, there's a horrendous, terrible book written by the Obama era NRC commander, or the leader of the NRC in that era. He's a fraud. The man actually wants to use 3 Mile Island as an example as to why we should write off nuclear power in its entirety. That's lunacy. It's lunacy. It's the behavior of a madman. So the tribunal we call modify healthcare risks linked to over $730 billion in spending. Yeah. So let's try a junk food tax. But Italy and Germany rely on Russian oil, coke, carbon free, like France, to embrace nuclear. The German Green Party is responsible for a lot of the carbon emissions that Germany is stuck with. The Germans have switched back to burning coal. That's Donald Trump, of all people, seems to be the only one that's calling that out. Anyway, y'all weren't here for politics, y'all were here for lifting. But if you are anti-nuclear in this day and age, in the age of dawning EV power, of dawning AI, and of increased risk due to climate change, I don't know what the hell to tell you. problem with pull days. My grip strength fails before the muscles themselves do, but I really don't like the idea of using straps on everything. It's still pretty good. That's, I think, 13 reps. Rocket! Yeah! Rocket! Yeah! Rocket, baby. Come on! All right. European Amtrak's also run by political appointees. And the first thing about running railroad, couldn't have said it better myself. Louisville Pepper fan, there's Paul's wife, school choice bill. I don't give a single solitary shit about school choice, but that's because I'm a single childless 29-year-old. It would be very odd if I did. Public schooling has its problems. I support sending your kids to public schools because I think private schools shelter them from the real world. It's almost ironically, because public school is worse, it's more realistic in many cases. Public school will expose your child to the fact that there are socially maladjusted, I said this yesterday, socially maladjusted people, dipshits, idiots, uncaring people who should care, and just plain old assholes in a way that private school usually won't because you're paying for it. There's an incentive for the teachers to care because if they don't, the parents will exit the private school and therefore, the teachers will lose their jobs. So it's about incentives, and there are none in public schools. Frankly, teaching in a public school, it's a job I wouldn't want, but you do get 3 months of paid vacation. In many states, it's union, so you can't get fired. And I'm not against unions, but it seems to me like teachers unions care more about protecting bad teachers than helping them get the pay rates of good teachers up, which is backwards. Let's go. This feels good today. 12. I'll take that. That's pretty good. Rocket. Yeah. All right. Going off camera just to move bar over to the landmine attachment because we're doing Meadows rows next. Fly, rocket, yeah. All right, last set. Let's go to the gym at home. Got injured during a deadlift. Instead of invertible hernia. Ooh, no, you wrote it fine. So you got a hernia doing a deadlift, or at least very close to. What that probably means is that your back started to round a little bit. My advice is, if you're getting to that point, consider using a belt. It will help keep your back straighter. Definitely go down weight. I mean, you're going to have to now if you got hurt, but consider deadlift variations that may help you with that. Flat bar deadlifts, maybe a Jefferson deadlift, or, you could do deficit deadlifts or block deadlifts. If you've got a weaker point, it sounds like if you got a hernia, it's probably the lower part of your deadlift that needs help. You probably have no problem locking out at the top, but you're probably having trouble getting it up those first few inches. So in that instance, that's a great comment, by the way. Thank you for sharing that. In that instance, what you can do is go down weight and get yourself a couple of plates, stand on the plates and do the deadlift to force, basically the bar path to be greater or lower range of motion. I would say you'd want greater here. That's what a deficit deadlift will give you. All right. No, we'll vote for both. But yes, you're forerunner in Hawaii. Yeah, pretty much. Chili on the Vine, welcome on in. Self-tax lobbyists, BlackRock and Vanguard kick rocks. Vanguard owns almost all. Yeah, I do almost all my investing through Vanguard, so I don't mind the big lobbyists and such. There's much more examples of that. You want me to say the thing, don't you? I'm glad you've seen the light on that one. Let's go a little quiet right here. The Interstate Highway, fine, so thing. The Interstate Highways Act of 1956 and its consequences have been a disaster for American society, including Hawaii. Felt pretty good. All right, we're done on the squat rack. Feel the noise, just rock your boat. All right, we're done on the squat rack, y'all. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. Then we're gonna set up for Meadows Rose, okay? Caffeine, gotta pee. It's HW if you're looking for the command. Exercise is gonna do my back later. All right, give me 1 minute, okay? So clear down. Damn. Okay. All right. Requiring all the citizens to vote. No. Now, I am a huge fan of civic participation. If you don't vote, you have no right to complain, but voting should not be mandatory. But there are worse laws you could pass. Oh, requiring U.S. all citizens ID to vote. Yeah, I'm in favor of that. Every other major developed country has some form of voter ID. There's no reason we shouldn't. Voter ID is not that big of a deal. It's one of those issues. I think the left sacrifices itself for no obvious cause. Okay, so we're gonna go 25 back here. I need to get mark 25. Okay. Perfect. Actually, you know what? We got several here. Let's use 25s. I would vote yes on voter ID. And if you disagree, that's okay. That's what this country's all about. Do I think voter ID should cost you anything? Absolutely not. That's a poll tax. That's against the Constitution. Or, well, the Supreme Court has ruled, at least since the 60s, that you shouldn't be able to have a poll tax, which I'm fine with. Poll taxes are not the way to go. All right, I'm going to try to go a little bit heavier here. We're going to try 100 and see how it feels. Usually I'm 85 to 90 range. So to answer your question, uh, Mr. Rossell Mash, for your lower back, if you are recovering from an injury caused by deadlifting, take it easy, okay? Do not do any of these at heavy weight. First one I would recommend is a good morning. You don't know what the good morning is. Good morning is you start in a squat position. Ideally a low bar, but if you prefer high bar, that works too. All right. You very slightly bend your knees and you come down real slow like this and then back up. You should keep your abs tight through the entire thing, as you should during a deadlift. Okay. That's a good morning. You should keep your back straight. If your back does this, you're in for a bad time. You got to keep your back straight. Okay. Keep your knees as unbent as you can, but a little bend is all right. Similarly, you can do the same thing with a Romanian deadlift. I suspect you already know what a Romanian deadlift is, but if you don't, it's the concept of basically reversing a deadlift. You go slightly lighter weight, you hold on to it, you really focus on the eccentric, you don't bend your knees very much. It's not quite a stiff-legged deadlift, you allow your knees a little bit of bend, but I would say it's quite a good exercise. Those two would be a really good start. I would also recommend the Jefferson deadlift, where you're straddling the bar, you come up like this. That one, and the deficit deadlift as well, very good exercises. There are also usually back extension machines at a lot of gyms. You could try those. And the exercises I'm doing today are for more my upper and mid back. That is my lat muscles, my rear delts to a minor extent, teres, and to another extent my traps. Okay. So 115. Now, that can't be right. Really? Hang on a second. Did I really do Meadows rows at 115? I mean, I'm gonna be very happy if I did, but I don't remember doing Meadows rows that heavy. Give me 1 second, y'all. I gotta find out. Row. Son of a gun. Yeah, I did. All right. Well, okay. In that case, 100 should be easy peasy. Means I need to just watch, loosen it. I need for Meadows rows because the grip, you're gripping the end of the bar. The end of the bar is fatter. Naturally, you are not going to have as much grip strength on it. And while you should train your grip strength uh, with plenty of exercises for Meadows row, the whole point is to really train your lats to the point where if you're not using straps, I have found that grip strength will not last long enough for the set to work. So I recommend, oh, this is my right. I recommend having straps for Meadows rows. Just my opinion. You don't have to do it, but I think it's worth doing. Same with the belt. You're bent over. The whole point is to really work on your. Let's see. Really, the Meadows row is very simple. It's not. It's not a complicated exercise by any means, but it's to me, a very effective one. So let's go ahead and. Yeah, that's what we want. I think under. It'll work. Perfect. Okay. All right. So start Meadows row. If we were doing 115, try 110 to start. I'm actually amazed we were doing 115. I feel like I'm not. I feel like I measured something incorrectly there. Kentucky law is already in the Kentucky Constitution. Well, if that's the case, then why hasn't it been enforced? Unlimited Jason, welcome on in. From what you've heard, voter ID laws are not just a talking point. Every other major developed country has a form of voter ID. We just have chosen not to. No. Since Dalton County legally is on the ballot, hey, congratulations. No, voter ID makes perfect sense. There's no reason not to do that. All right, let's look at this. I go right and left. I think it's, yeah, no, from the left and right. Okay. That's not bad at all. It was pretty easy 15 actually. I have to go up. Just because the right supports it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad law. Again, there are loads of European and other advanced democracies that require voter ID. You should make that voter ID very easy to get. But, okay, little twinge in my neck. That doesn't feel good. Okay. So I looked over to my left while I was doing the right hand set there. Something didn't feel right. Ow. I strained my neck a little bit there. Damn. Anything important shrugs to the party. Happy to be from New Jersey. Sure about Social Security, whatever. All right. Brother, between getting your driver's license and moving to a new state, it is not hard to get voter ID in a red state. Trust me. This is the first blue state I've lived in since high school. You can get your voter ID in a red state, and it's not hard. Don't be partisan for the sake of being partisan. Voter ID is not that scary. This one's like guns. Uh, all right, I gotta get some music going. Keep hitting this workout. This is hard. God, the amount of people. I'd say. All right. Let's go. Come on. Let's hit. School ID, a social security card, probably no driver's license. There are plenty of, right, you can get state IDs. Like here, for instance, I don't own a car. I still got a different driver's license just in case I feel like buying a car at some point. But they have, in this state, you can go get a state ID. Very easy. Now, much in the same way that I believe the left has tried to make a boogeyman out of voter ID, I think the right has tried to make a boogeyman out of voting by mail. Both should be legal. Like you should have both a necessary ID. And it's really simple. You can just take a picture of your ID, send it in. Right? We live in the 21st century. There's no reason you shouldn't be able to verify like an online ID. That's super easy. All right, let's go next set. This isn't rocket science. We make that so much harder.